What's up? Welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with my 2024 Grammy nominations predictions. The Grammy nominations are coming out on November 10th, so I got to talk about what I think will get nominated before the 2024 Grammys, of course, do occur on February 4th next year. I'll be doing my full Grammy predictions late January in the lead up to the Grammys, of course. But yeah, this is the Grammys. They're back once again. And this time around, we're talking about the music release from October 1st last year to September 15th this year. Thus, there's always a few big albums or awardsy albums that aren't on this Grammy cutoff. So for the next Grammy years, thus they aren't eligible right now, would be the new Bad Bunny album, Nade Sabe, the new Troye Sivan album, Drake's For All the Dogs, Doja Cat's Scarlet, Sampha's Lahai. Probably the biggest albums that are not eligible this time around. But thus, as a result, we have Taylor Swift's Midnights from last year, SZA's SOS, Olivia Rodrigo's Guts. To me, those are the three big artists, the three big contenders, and we'll just kind of jump right in to Album of the Year. See the time codes below for some other categories we'll be getting to. Yeah, I think Album of the Year, it's Taylor, it's SZA, it's Olivia. Those three are all locks. And again, I'll be doing my predictions later, but those three are all locks to get nominated. After that, I think it's kind of interesting where there's not a lot of they'll definitely get in there picks per se. And I don't feel like I felt this way in a few years, but in trying to fill out the rest of the field here, even though I don't think anyone else has a chance to win. I think Boy Genius with the record, I think they'll get in there. I think Lana Del Rey's in the mix. I think Foo Fighters liked album, Grammy Love, they're probably in the mix, although Bruce Springsteen from last year could be in the mix instead of them. John Baptiste, World Music Radio. John Baptiste, Grammy Love in the past. Not that anyone's like a big John Baptiste fan as far as I'm concerned, but probably in there. I'll be curious if Ed Sheeran gets in there. Less popular album this time around than last time. We'll see. And I think the big ones from there would have to be Countryside. Zach Bryan's self-titled album. Zach Bryan really blowing up this year after really rapid rise. Be curious if that one breaks through. And also, an even bigger record than that, Morgan Wallen's One Thing at a Time. I'll be curious if Wallen breaks through into the really big categories, given his previous controversies and also the fact that he's a country artist. We'll see. But to me, that's kind of the mix. Like, Miley Cyrus, I suppose, could be in here. I don't think Post Malone is going to be in here, even though he's been nominated for Album of the Year in the past. Just that album really came and went. Noah Kahan, I suppose. That would be kind of unexpected for him to break through all the way to the top. But we'll see. For Record of the Year and Song of the Year, which I'll just kind of talk about together because there's always so much overlap between the two. Similar cast of characters. Miley Cyrus for Flowers. And we kind of all know what main song they're riding behind. Miley for Flowers, Olivia for Vampire, Taylor Swift for Antihero, SZA for Kill Bill. I think they're all in the mix. Those are pretty obvious. Don't have a good handle on who would win. I think Flowers and Antihero are probably the ones that'll split those two wins. That's how I would think it would go. We'll see. I think Doja Cat's Paint the Town Red could be in the mix here, given Doja's past Grammy attention. Then from there, I think we're kind of guessing again. I don't really have a good feel. I think Zach Bryan and Casey Musgraves, maybe their duet, I Remember Everything, could be here. We'll see. Maybe it depends how big a night Zach Bryan has with nominations. We'll see. Last Night for Wallen, again, we'll see what happens with him. Luke Combs' cover of Fast Car, that can only be nominated in Record of the Year because it's a remake, of course. Wouldn't be surprised to see that, but that's now three country artists I've mentioned. I don't think they're all going to get in there at the top here. Be remiss not to acknowledge Billie Eilish for her Barbie soundtrack song, What Was I Made For? She's a two-time winner in these categories, so you can't write her off, even if we're in an in-between year for Billie. Lift Me Up for Rihanna off the Black Panther 2 soundtrack from last year. Maybe could be a sneaky nominee in one of these. We'll see. I think my personal pick, I would love if Rush from Troye Sivan got nominated for Record of the Year, but it's not going to happen. That's just shout out Troy. Really love that song. Best New Artist. Best New Artist is very interesting this year. There's a lot of great choices. I think Ice Spice, by far and away, is the biggest lock and probably the favorite to win. It's kind of obvious. But then from there, Peso Pluma, putting Corridos Tumbados on the international map out of Mexico. He's had a huge year. And, I think it'd be really smart to continue to acknowledge Latin music that's not made by the very famous artists yet. Peso Pluma, rapidly rising. He should be here. On the country side, talked about country a lot already. How about Bailey Zimmerman, who is rapidly rising and is going to be a huge star? It'd be stupid not to pick him, in my opinion. Noah Kahan, I think that one's really obvious. Talk about a rapid rise. If anyone can upset Ice Spice to win this, I think he's the pick. Pink Panthers as well. She's great. I don't think she's popular enough to win this category, but she definitely should be nominated. That would be a big snub if she didn't get in. Then from there, I think it's a bit of guesswork. We'll see what happens. Other people like Ray and Jelly Roll and I suppose Coil Ray is pretty famous at this point. We'll see. I'm definitely rooting for, and I don't think any of these are going to happen, honestly, but I'd be rooting for Best New Artist to include someone from K-pop, just because there's been a ton of brand new artists, brand new groups specifically from K-pop, and I know 50/50 got mainstream with Cupid, but the best pick here, of course, would be New Jeans. If you've listened to me at all this year, you know how hard I've been riding for New Jeans. They make the perfect sense as a pick, but also Le Sserafim as well. Frankly, both of them should be nominated, but I would really love to see New Jeans, even though I don't think it's going to happen. Also, Fred again. He's not super new per se, but like he really blew up and is basically the face of electronic music in the EDM community right now. Be a really smart nomination and thought by the Recording Academy, but again, we're not going to hold our breath. And also, I think on the pop side, the alt pop side of things, Holly Humberstone, who recently released her debut album, which is not eligible to be nominated for this Grammys, but she's existed to this point. She would be a pretty solid pick, I think. Maybe she'll get nominated for this next year once the album is in the Grammy cycle. We'll see. But shout out Holly Humberstone. So yeah, Best New Artist, I'm thinking Ice Spice, Peso Pluma, Noah Kahan, probably Pink Panthers. Those are your top four, and then Bailey Zimmerman should get in there as well. The rest, I think it's a guess. We'll see. Pop vocal album, again, obvious names at the top: Olivia Rodrigo, Taylor Swift, Miley Cyrus. Then from there, I'm kind of not sure how it's going to end. You get the Sam Smith album, you got the Ed Sheeran album. Is that it? Is that what it's going to be? I saw some people throwing out the Kelly Clarkson album. I'm not sure I see that. Carolyn Polachek would be an awesome pick for this. She's kind of more on the alt pop side, not really a pop vocalist, pure pop vocalist, but I don't think she's big enough to really get nominated here, unfortunately. Rap album, very interesting year for the rap album category, honestly. Drake and 21 Savage's Her Loss was in fact submitted to the Grammys. Drake, of course, has not submitted music in the past recently and has talked ill of the Academy, but that album has been nominated and frankly is my pick. It's my favorite of all the albums I think are in the mix here. You also have Travis Scott's Utopia, Metro Boomin's Heroes and Villains. I think those three are going to get in. And then from there, I'm not really sure. Nas released 2 albums this year. Would be foolish to completely write him off. Of course, he won a few years ago for King's Disease. But probably not going to happen. It's kind of spinning the wheel, I guess, as a nomination. We'll see. Get the Gun album, get the Ice Spice EP. I don't think the Ice Spice EP should be nominated. Best New Artist is enough, in my opinion. The Lil Durk album, I'm not sure. All My Life with Cole, that song's pretty big. I think that'll get nominated for best rap collab or rap song collab or something like that. Maybe the album won't break through. I'm not sure. I love J Huss's album, Beautiful Brutal Yard, to get through, but J Huss isn't big enough artist to do it. Yeah, I mean, the No Name album would be an awesome selection, honestly, but I just don't know if she's big enough to really get acknowledged like that. But she should be in there for sure. Speaking to the Rap Heads things, people would ride for the Billy Woods album. Again, I don't really see it coming, although wouldn't totally write it off, given that a lot of old heads have been nominated for Best Rap Album lately, which is pretty cool. So we'll see. I'm not really sure. So I want to shout out the Musica Urbana category, just because, Bad Bunny, he's not eligible this time around, but you're still going to get the Karol G album, was probably the favorite, Mañana, Será Bonito, and you're also going to get nominations probably for Rav Alejandro, Eladio Carrion. Latin music is super big. Of course, we have a whole Latin Grammys as a result of this. It'd be cool if one of those albums was also in Album of the Year, and if we could continue to see this type of thing happen for music that's not made by absolutely accepted mainstream people like Bunny. We'll see. Also, Burna Boy. I have to acknowledge Burna Boy's most recent album, which gets in just under the eligibility period. I Told Them came out right at the end there. I like the album quite a bit. I'd be very interested to see how far an Afrobeats artist can continue to rise beyond the genre categories. We talked about this before with Burna Boy, and this was not his most critically acclaimed album, although there's a lot of stuff on here to like. Shout out Sitting on Top of the World, shout out City Boys as singles. I wouldn't be surprised to see those songs get some love. We'll see. But yeah, I think the Grammys this year, it's really going to be a lot of familiar faces, I think. And we'll see how interesting they get with Best New Artist. We'll see if anybody less mainstream gets nominated for Best Rap Album, for example. But, you know, it's kind of the same thing as we had last year, I guess, to a certain extent, where last year was the big battle between Adele and Beyonce and Harry Styles, right? This year, it's kind of similar, not to the same overall degree, but Taylor, SZA, and Olivia is still Olivia is a very big three still, and yeah, I think that's good enough. And I think we kind of predicted this a year ago when Midnight's came out, but Taylor's probably going to run it up. But there's always a surprise once in a while, so we'll see. I'll do my predictions once we have the nominations, and I'll react to the nominees once they come out at the end of the week. But let me know, who do you really want to see get Grammy nominated? Who are you riding for? Not necessarily to win, but at least to get recognized with a nomination. What do you want to see most? And for more Grammy talk, more awards predictions, Grammys, Emmys, Oscars, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.